Welcome to our latest LonRes and Company. Taking a look at the latest LonRes figures suggests activity in the central London sales market is starting to increase. The first quarter last year was busier than normal due to the introduction of the 3% stamp duty levy in April. But even so, our latest under-offer data suggests in prime central London, volumes this year are within 7% of 2016 levels. It is a little early to call, but it certainly points to some more positive news for the central London market over the coming months. Today we are joined by Mark Pollack, founding partner at Aston Chase, to discuss his views on the health of the prime market. Mark, our figures seem to be showing a pickup in activity. How's your market fared this year?
Pretty good, actually. Much to our surprise, after a tough last quarter, there's been quite good activity really across all price levels.
Are there any particular areas that seem to be doing better than others, or?
It's actually quite across the board. We found, from new home developments, kind of one-bedroom flats from £500,000 upwards, right through to super prime, which prior to this year actually has been really struggling, as you know, with a huge shortage in the number of the quantity of transactions.
Can you tell us a bit about the demand for luxury new developments in central London?
The new build sector obviously has always appealed to international buyers who are attracted to the security afforded by such schemes and the fact that those properties can easily be locked up and left. I think that with the quality of new builds across central London and the amenities that they're offering, such as can range from swimming pools, gymnasiums, office suites, and so on and so forth, have made them that much more attractive as well to domestic buyers who are finding that they're getting a lot of the amenities they might ordinarily have to find in a kind of super prime house in lateral space. So, it's a dual market, both the domestic and international buyers now.
Fantastic. And are there any particular schemes that you're involved in that are selling particularly well at the moment?
A number of the developments we're handling are going quite well. In particular, this year we've sold 4 apartments in the Park Crescent, which is a development by Amazon Property that we're handling jointly with Knight Frank. The Park Crescent is London's only royal crescent at the foot of Portland Place, effectively overlooking the Crescent Gardens and Regent's Park beyond. We've sold 4 apartments there at a blended price of around about £2,500 a foot. And I think that's done particularly well because each apartment is interior designed by separate leading interior designers, fully furnished. So it's given buyers an opportunity effectively for instant gratification, a seamless move. And although there are some other interesting developments online in Marylebone, there's very little stock that is actually ready for immediate occupation. In other cases, people are buying off plan, and I think the fact that the Park Crescent is ready to go has been very attractive to people.
Fantastic. And I know there's been some changes recently to rules on anti-money laundering. Has that had any impact on your market, or?
Yeah, the money laundering regulations have had an impact. Ultimately, it's a positive development, obviously. But I think what happened historically was every now and then there would be a transaction or transactions would take place that seemed to kind of buck the trend and created something of an anomaly in the market. And as a result of that, vendors would maybe realign their expectations, reflecting, perhaps an unrealistically high price that had been achieved. And that could really kind of be quite destructive in terms of future level of transactions thereafter. So the fact that that whole area has been tightened up, I think, it is a good thing for a multitude of reasons, but it has nonetheless had an impact on the top end of the market, where inevitably, some buyers who seemingly, were approved by their lawyers, but nonetheless were willing to pay very frothy prices on certain properties.
And in terms of the rest of 2017, I know it's tricky to sort of crystal ball gaze, but how do you see the market faring for the rest of the year?
Difficult to predict, but as things stand, I would say if it continues in its current vein, looking quite promising. I think as we mentioned earlier in our conversation, there was definitely a reduction in the volume of transactions across all price ranges in London last year. And I think as a result of that, there's kind of quite significant pent-up demand. So I think that we're going to have a better year than 2016. I think that Brexit is still going to have an impact. Soft Brexit, hard Brexit, we don't know. But I do think people have come to terms with the fact that life continues after Brexit. And whilst people are still very disillusioned with the level of stamp duty land tax, nevertheless, I think they're also kind of coming to terms with the new terrain. That's how it is. And if they want to make a move, they've just got to accept it and get on with life. So I think all in all, I'm feeling mildly encouraged. But, as we sit here now, there's been a tragic incident, as you know, at Westminster, and things like that, equity markets and all of those things kind of removed from the domestic market can have, quite a significant impact on sentiment, and sentiment affects the market. So I think it's premature for us to think that it's going to revert to the same levels that where we're at, but I think encouraging signs.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Mark.
Pleasure, thank you.
At LonRes, we have some exciting new developments in the coming weeks. Keep an eye on lonres.com for all the latest news. Thanks for watching.
That's pretty good.
Is that right?
Where do you live yourself?
I live in Manchester.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Do you commute?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mark, hi guys, I didn't realise you were here. 2 minutes, I'll be finished. Do you want to go for a drink?
With that apron, I'm not going anywhere with you.
No, guys? Marcus?